make it, rain girl, make it.
I want people to know that I am a really passionate person who has a hunger for life and experiences, who wants to try everything and who wants to do everything. I want people to know that I am more than my job, or I'm more than the activities I do outside my 9 to 5. Um, that I'm an anxious, neurotic human like many other people. And I think I'd also like them to know that I care a lot about giving back, and I care a lot about the people in my life and trying to make them feel very supported. There are more stars in the sky than grains of sand in the universe. The simple joys in my life are my morning walks with my dog Fig, and just observing new things, new people, new plants coming up, new restaurants, a new thing that I hadn't noticed before every single day. I love doing that in the mornings. I love a simple meal, like whether it's making fried rice for dinner with leftovers or making a really simple breakfast, but I love the ritual of cooking, and I love the alchemy or the magic that happens of taking humble ingredients and then all of a sudden combined together feels like something magical has happened and that they've transformed into something entirely different. Um, I love being by the water. I think that will always, maybe joy is part of it, but I also think like a sense of calmness and tranquility is what I get out of that. And then being around people that I love is just like the ultimate joy, whether it's bumping into a friend on the subway that you haven't seen or getting together with a group of friends. I love my community and they bring me so much joy and so much energy. Secret talent I secretly can just remember the beats and lyrics to songs after listening maybe once or twice, and I can beat Shazam. So if I hear the first 2 seconds of a song, I can tell you what the song is and who sings it. Listening to a really good playlist, Beyonce's definitely got to be on there, and then just reminding myself who I am and where I came from. My life soundtrack, goodness. Maybe Woman by Cleo Sol and Little Sims. The driving force behind my ambitions is my family, specifically my parents. Knowing that they immigrated here, and shortly before I was born, they left everything behind, left their families behind, started a new life in an unfamiliar land, and they tried their best to become successful and work hard and raise a family. And their sacrifices are never lost on me. They're the thing that fuels me and motivates me to do more, to do better, because I don't want their sacrifices to be in vain, and I don't want to ever take that for granted. So I try, I think, every day to continuously improve my work or continuously find new ways to make an impact, because the opportunity that I have to live here and to have this life is really precious. I geek out on too many things. I think that's my my problem. I geek out on writing, reading, working, cookbooks, cooking, feeding people, eating, walking around New York, old tidbits of history, pop culture, 90s nostalgia. I geek out on anything and everything, basically. I have something really exciting coming up in about a month and a week. My first ever book, my debut cookbook, Maman and Me, comes out on October 24th, and it's available for pre-order now. I'm really excited. I hope people order it. I hope people try the recipes. I hope people get acquainted with Iranian food if they're unfamiliar. I hope if they love it, then I hope they've found new ways to make it at home. And most importantly, I hope that the legacy of my family's cooking story kind of finds its way into new people's homes and bookshelves. So that is something coming up that I'm super excited about. And then on top of that, I'd say I'd love to continue working on my writing practice, whether it is related to the cookbook or outside of it. And then also working on like my self-care practice, because I tend to be somebody who takes a lot of work on and doesn't realize how stressed or tired I can be until after the fact. And so just trying to be better about that, better at taking care of myself versus waiting to feel burnt out and tired before doing something. I think one of my unpopular opinions, maybe it's more popular now, is that social media is tends to be a highlights reel for many of us all. And sometimes I think we, myself included, tend to compare ourselves to other people, their lives, their careers, their families. But really, what we get to see on their social media pages is just a small sliver of that person's life. We don't necessarily see the bad days, the struggles, the downs, the rejections. And I feel like it's easy for us to forget all of that. So just I'd say one unpopular opinion is social media is a highlights reel. It's a best of, it's highly curated, and we don't get to see or know a full person through that. And then the second is I think it's not so much a hot take, but like trying to have it all is really hard. And I think I'm still figuring out what all even means to me and what I want out of my life. But I'm juggling a really intense job, a really intense cookbook, trying to have a social life and trying to take care of myself and trying to take care of my dog and my personal life all in between. And it's really, really hard. And I don't know if you can have it all. I don't know if we can't have it all. I'm not quite sure, but I think just finding balance is harder than we expect, and there's no stasis. You might have weeks where you feel really balanced, but other times you feel out of balance. So I just say that behind someone who seems behind myself, someone who seems like busy and active and positive, is someone who's like stressed out and tired and dropping some of those balls. So just like remember behind all of us we have that. So just like remember the human at the end of the day. And just because someone wears it well doesn't mean it isn't heavy. I've always wanted to have a legacy of serving communities in need and making space for other people. And in my career, I started out in the nonprofit side of things, eventually inched my way over to the private sector. But the through line between all these different companies and nonprofits and experiences was impact, and it was doing something for the greater good. And I created my job at Glossier, and it didn't exist before I was there. And now, 5 years later, I feel like I have a legacy of work here to point back to, whether it's our grant program, which epi.logic was in, whether it's charitable partnerships or brand partnerships. So I think of legacy all the time, and I think the definition of legacy and maybe the way you approach it might change, but it feels like for me that one legacy of wanting to leave things better than where they started is one that's been true my entire life. And there's so many people I'm grateful for. I will say I have to start out by thanking Dr. Jeniton for creating my favorite products and just being she is such an incredible, joyous person. Like, she's a brilliant doctor. She's a brilliant founder. She cares a lot about the work that she does, and she puts so much thought and intention into it. So not to be like a teacher's pet, but I just have to give her a shout out. Aside from her, I think I'm always trying to express gratitude for my mom and my dad. Again, like, all the sacrifices I had mentioned before, but it's really their hard work that has allowed me to be where I am today, and that will never ever be lost on me. I think about it every single day, and I strive to make them proud and show them how grateful I am always.